You know how it is, life just keeps throwing things at you, right? And
Mhm.
before you know it, you're kind of operating on autopilot.
Hmm.
But have you ever stopped to think about something really, really fundamental? How you're actually treating yourself in the middle of all that chaos?
It's a huge question,
Yeah.
and it's one we often just overlook.
Uh-huh.
Our source for today, a video called Learning How to Love Yourself, really gets into this.
Okay.
Self-love, at its core, it's about extending that basic kindness and care inward
Yeah.
towards yourself.
Right.
It's about having this fundamental sense of, like, okayness about who you are,
Yeah.
accepting the good stuff, yeah, but also the bits you're maybe still working on.
And the video connects this directly to our mental well-being, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It makes a strong link.
Yeah.
A lack of self-love, it suggests, can really open the door to some, well, difficult feelings, sadness, worry, even anger sometimes.
Yeah, I can see that. But having that base of self-acceptance, it's like an anchor.
Exactly. An internal anchor. It keeps you steadier. Does that kind of feeling, maybe not being kind enough to yourself, does that ring true for you listening?
Because if it does, the really encouraging thing from this video is that self-love isn't, fixed. It's not something you either have or you don't.
Right. It's presented as a skill, something we can actually learn, something we can cultivate.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive then.
Precisely. We're going to explore what self-love actually looks like in practice
Mm.
based on the video. We'll identify some of those common roadblocks, the things that make it difficult.
And hopefully offer some practical steps, things people can actually do.
Yes, actionable strategies for building that stronger sense of self-compassion, all drawn from the insights in this video.
Okay, great. So let's get down to brass tacks. What does it look like day to day? When someone is actually, practicing self-love, the video gives examples, right?
It does, yeah, concrete examples. And what really stands out is this idea of internal kindness, especially when we mess up, which we all do, obviously. The video points out that people practicing self-love tend to treat themselves with the same understanding, the same forgiveness they'd offer a friend.
That's a good way to put it. Would you talk to your friend the way you sometimes talk to yourself? Usually not.
Exactly. It's about applying that same standard of compassion inward. And it's not just mental, is it?
No, the video talks about the physical side too, taking care of your body.
Right. Simple things. Eating healthy foods, moving your body in ways that feel good, doesn't have to be intense, even just a walk.
These aren't just health things, they're acts of self-respect, really.
They absolutely are. Tangible ways of showing yourself you matter. And it's also about joy, making time for things you actually enjoy.
Hobbies and stuff.
Yeah, hobbies, activities that just, light you up. The video stresses this isn't a luxury. It's about feeding your inner life, remembering what brings you satisfaction outside of just obligations.
Makes sense. And then there's confidence, believing in yourself.
Mm-hmm. Believing in your abilities, that underlying feeling of, okay, I can handle this or I can figure this out, even when things get tough. That's a key sign.
And underneath all that, acceptance.
Yeah, I think that's maybe the core.
Yeah.
Accepting all of you, the strengths, yes, but also the weaknesses, the flaws.
Mm.
Self-love isn't about being perfect.
Right. It's not chasing some impossible ideal.
Exactly. It's about recognizing your value as you are. And doing these things, being kind, caring for your body, making time for joy, believing in yourself. It creates this positive feedback loop.
Boosting your overall well-being and happiness, like we talked about at the start.
Precisely.
Okay, so that's the goal, what it looks like. But let's be real, it's not always easy to get there. The video talks about barriers, right? Hurdles.
It definitely does. It acknowledges that building self-love can be really challenging.
Yeah.
And it identifies a few key roadblocks.
What's the first one?
The first major one is low self-esteem. And the video clarifies, self-esteem is basically how you value and respect yourself.
How much you think you're worth, essentially.
Kind of, yeah. And people with low self-esteem, the video points out, tend to really focus on their weaknesses. They get stuck on perceived flaws.
Leading to that negative self-talk loop.
Exactly. And it's hard to be kind to yourself, to love yourself, if you fundamentally don't value yourself very much. It's an uphill battle.
Yeah, that makes total sense. If you're always putting yourself down inside your head, what's another barrier the video mentions?
The second one is, I think, incredibly relevant today. Comparing yourself to others.
Oh, yeah, the comparison trap.
Big time. Especially with, social media everywhere. We see these curated highlight reels of other people's lives.
Looks, jobs, vacations, all of it.
Right. And the video explains how this constant comparison can just fuel feelings of inadequacy, like you're not good enough or your life isn't measuring up. It makes you unhappy with your own unique path.
Yeah, it's like you're comparing your everyday reality to someone else's best-case scenario presentation. It's a recipe for feeling bad.
Totally. And there's a third barrier, too, which can be maybe a bit deeper. Painful past experiences. Things like being bullied or maybe experiencing abuse or significant loss.
Things that leave scars.
Exactly. These experiences, in the video notes, can lead to lasting feelings of being, well, worthless or somehow fundamentally flawed. It makes accepting yourself, and therefore loving yourself, incredibly difficult. It can create these really ingrained negative beliefs.
Wow, okay, so low self-esteem, comparison, past hurts. Those sound like pretty significant obstacles. It could feel a bit discouraging.
It could, but the video is actually really hopeful here.
Good.
It strongly emphasizes that despite these challenges, even if they're deeply rooted, building self-love is possible. It is achievable.
But there's a crucial first step, right?
Yes, and it's about honesty, being honest with yourself. The video really encourages identifying which specific barriers you're facing. What is it for you?
Ah, so acknowledging it is key. Naming the dragon, so to speak.
Precisely. Recognizing those specific obstacles is the foundation. Yeah, that's where you start the work of dismantling them.
Okay, so identify the barriers. Got it. Now the video moves on to something really practical, a specific skill, learning to say no.
An important skill for self-love, it calls it.
Sounds simple, but I think a lot of people struggle with this one. Why is it so hard, according to the video?
Well, it digs into the emotions behind it. Often it's about guilt, isn't it? Or the fear of disappointing people.
Yeah, you don't want to let people down, or you worry what they'll think.
Exactly. Fear of how it impacts relationships, fear of conflict maybe. That can be tied up in saying no.
Okay, so that's why it's hard. But why is mastering it so important for self-love? What's the connection?
The connection is all about protecting your well-being. The video explains that if you're always saying yes, always overcommitting,
You get overwhelmed, stressed out.
totally overwhelmed, stressed, maybe even resentful eventually. You end up sacrificing your own time, your energy, things you enjoy, just to meet everyone else's demands. So saying no becomes this act of setting healthy boundaries. It's like saying, my time and energy are valuable, and I need to protect them.
It's valuing your own need.
Precisely. It's a tangible way of showing your self-respect.
That really clicks. It's not about being selfish, it's about self-preservation in a way. But the video adds some nuance too, right? It's not just no, no, no to everything.
No, absolutely not. It makes that point clearly. Sometimes compromise is needed. Sometimes helping others is important for connection. It's not about becoming rigid.
Okay.
The core idea is giving yourself permission to say no when you need to, when it's necessary for your own mental or physical health. Realizing that setting those boundaries is healthy. It's vital, actually.
Healthy and essential. Got it. So we've looked at what self-love is, the barriers, the power of saying no.
Yeah.
Now, the video talks about self-care as a way to actively cultivate self-love.
Exactly. This is where it gets really actionable, putting those ideas into practice. The video suggests that having a consistent self-care routine is a powerful way to send yourself a message. The message that you are worthy of care, worthy of attention. These regular actions reinforce your own value.
And it gives practical ideas, right? Not just abstract concepts.
Oh yeah, very practical. And it helpfully breaks them down into things for your body and things for your mind.
Okay, let's start with the body. What kind of physical self-care does it suggest?
Well, it really emphasizes the fundamentals. Things like eating nourishing foods, fruits, vegetables, proteins, drink enough water, getting enough sleep. That's a big one.
So important, often overlooked.
Definitely. And moving your body regularly. Again, it doesn't have to be running a marathon. Even just a walk outside counts. These basic things deeply affect how we feel physically, which then impacts everything else.
Okay, basics for the body. What about for the mind? What kind of mental self-care?
For the mind, it suggests things that help you relax and recharge, like reading, listening to music you enjoy, maybe taking a warm bath, simple pleasures.
Things that calm you down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It also highlights spending time with positive, supportive people. Our social connections really matter for our mental state.
True. And what else?
Things like journaling, writing down your thoughts and feelings can be really helpful for processing them. And mindfulness practices like meditation or even just some deep breathing exercises, great for managing stress.
And the video gives examples of how to actually fit these into a day, like routines.
Yes, which makes it feel less overwhelming. It suggests maybe starting the day with some movement, a healthy breakfast, maybe a little journaling.
Setting a positive tone.
Right. And then in the evening, winding down with maybe a healthy meal, relaxing bath, some reading before bed. The key takeaway is that self-care doesn't have to be complicated or expensive.
It's not about fancy spa days necessarily.
Not necessarily, no. It's more about consistently meeting those basic needs, body and mind, nourishment, rest, movement, calm, enjoyment.
And doing this consistently sends that powerful message we talked about.
Yes. The video puts it beautifully. When you prioritize self-care, you're essentially telling yourself, I am important. I deserve to feel good.
That really hits the nail on the head.
And that affirmation shown through your actions day after day, that's really the heart of self-love. It's demonstrating your value to yourself.
And the video encourages just starting.
Yeah. Start today. Start small, but start.
Okay. So as we wrap up this deep dive, drawing from that Learning How to Love Yourself video, we've covered quite a bit.
We really have. We started by establishing that self-love isn't just a nice to have. It's fundamental for our well-being, deeply linked to mental health and happiness.
Then we looked at those barriers, low self-esteem, that tricky comparison trap, and the impact of past hurts, stressing that awareness is the first step to tackling them.
Right. And we highlighted the power of saying no, framing it not as negativity, but as a crucial act of self-respect, protecting your own energy.
Definitely. And finally, we explored practical self-care, concrete ways to nurture your body and mind, sending that consistent message of self-worth through your daily actions.
Yeah, and the overall message from the source is really encouraging, isn't it? Learning to love yourself takes practice, it takes effort, it's a journey.
But it leads to a happier, healthier life. That's the promise.
That's the potential, absolutely.
So thinking about all this, especially those internal obstacles we discussed, that inner critic, the comparison habit, maybe some old wounds, here's something to consider. What's just one small, concrete act of kindness you can offer yourself today, right now, to start chipping away at the power of those barriers?